Hi, it's Devana from Witch's Tea Flint. Welcome to another Magickal Musings. So I was driving on Court and I looked in my rearview mirror to see a little chubby skunk crossing the street as fast as its little legs could go across 4 lanes of traffic. I always watch animals cross, not sure what I can do to help after I've passed them, but I always send intentions for them to make it across safely when I see it happen. So I watch until they reach the other side. Court Street is a pretty busy 4-lane road that runs through downtown. This time of day, 9 a.m., is pretty busy on a normal day. You've got college traffic when we're not in a pandemic, and downtown businesses opening for the day. There's the governments and the court offices. So seeing a skunk in a busy downtown area at 9 a.m. is not just an anomaly. It's the first time I've ever seen any sort of critter like that in the downtown area. So I was intrigued. Now, I also have this thing where cute and chubby little critters, I really want to chase them down. It's that 3-year-old that pops up that has to run and chase after cute animals to love them and hug them and squeeze them. I can't help it, even as an adult. I'm learning to fight that and realize more and more why I should not act like Elmira from Tiny Toons. Had I chased the little skunk down, it could have been a really smelly situation and my day had just started. I did not have the time for a tomato juice bath and be in Saginaw in less than 2 hours. I'm also learning that some animals are sneaky little things, and this is the time of year they like to lure people like me who cannot help themselves to their doom. So I think I made a wise choice not chasing after the skunk. I did, however, start musing over the animal medicine of skunks and shamanism. The message that came from the spirits and the other side was pretty profound. You might be wondering what it means to say animal medicine. It's the energy that we get from these animals, the teachings that we can take in to further our spiritual growth, the lessons that we learn with them interacting just naturally in their environment, the observation of how they do their everyday thing and process takeaways from that experience. I come from kind of a country redneck family on my mom's side. My grandpa was about as country as you can get, minus the whole rebel flag thing, for many reasons. He knew the meaning of that, and he was not going to raise hateful children to raise more hateful children. So that flag was nowhere near my experiences as a child. But he did like to hunt and trap food. I mean, they had 6 kids. He had broken his back very early in his 30s and couldn't get back to work. My grandmother was a very dark-skinned Cherokee woman. She was half Cherokee. Her mother was full-blooded, and both of them looked every inch of it. Only my great-grandmother was very pale in complexion. So I remember my grandpa taking the dogs for walks in the fields of the swamp behind our house and coming back with all sorts of things. He had turtles and snakes and groundhogs and skunks. I watched him process these animals, partially in horror, but the skunk he treated differently every time. The stink bag, as he called it, was still pretty potent even after the skunk had died. It was enlarged and it was green and just kind of fascinating to look at. As he carefully processed the skunk, he made sure to dispose of the stink bag with the utmost respect and careful actions. The idea that even in death, this skunk was treated with the same sort of respect that you would have if it was still with us. It commands that respect, even after it ceased to breathe. And that becomes the animal medicine of the spirit world. So skunks have an odd reputation. Cute, adorable, so squishy. At least you want to squish them, but that could lead to a very bad day afterwards. We may think that they're adorable and want to run after them, but then we snap back to reality and we know better. All you have to do is smell that smell just once, or have cleaned it off a curious canine friend, and you'd prefer to completely avoid it. A skunk will look you dead ass in the eyes and challenge you to take one step further. It knows how far its protective bubble reaches, and if you choose unwisely to encroach in it, you know the outcome and especially if the wind is in the favor of the skunk. In shamanism, we relate the skunk to our sense of self-worth. It's an unassuming predator, but the self-respect, the self-esteem, the self-worth, and the reputation of the skunk precedes itself. Maybe you haven't ever smelled a skunk, but hearing the experience or smelling it after maybe it didn't cross the road as well as what you had hoped. You may want to squish it and cuddle it yourself, but the other side of you says, oh, no, 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 and the skunk will look at you like, try me, witch, try me. Wouldn't it be nice to exude such confidence? To seem approachable and seem like someone you could just run up and give a hug to, but respected enough to say, boundaries. Maybe not. Skunks are fairly solitary creatures and actually slow moving. They don't have to be in a rush, but it's when you see them rushing off that you should probably rush off as well, but maybe not within 10 to 15 feet of the skunk so you aren't in wind of its spray. A skunk calls us to use our inner power, that gut instinct, and become so adept at perceiving danger before it even happens, and come up with a variety of potential outcomes all at once, to hone our senses when the air changes and know that it's time to shore up our defenses. Skunk challenges us to look at ourselves as an objective outsider. How are you being perceived? Maybe it's time to rise up and meet that person. Do you respect yourself? Do others respect you? Is life that obviously black and white? What signals are you sending? Believe it or not, skunks have an immense sense of self-respect, but they also don't overpower or bully others with that. How can you be like that? Learn to accept all aspects of yourself without ego so that you attract those who are on your vibration and repel anyone who does not match that vibration. A skunk will just keep doing its skunky thing. Skunk energy is very much like that saying in Game of Thrones by Tyrion Lannister when he's talking to Jon Snow. The whole never forget who you are, the rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor and it can't be used to hurt you. People say the skunk stinks. Brother Skunk says, why yes, I do. And that's okay. So I challenge you to take a look at what you feel as a flaw of character, or just flaws in your personality, flaws that you feel that you have. If they're not something that is easily changed and honestly aren't really that much of a flaw if you change your perception, consider using that to your benefit. Once you spend time with yourself in meditation and think about these things that you may consider a detriment can actually be a tool, can be a weapon, can be a way of rising to the occasion. Own it. Get your strength from it. Use that to your advantage. Use that skunk energy. Just don't be skunky about it. Have a great one, and thanks for joining me on this Magickal Musings.